Alright, we're talking about the opening scene of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Okay, before we get started, there's a quick change I want to make, and it occurs right as our heroes engage in the battle. Let's watch the original scene.
They're all over me!
Get the front line!
I'm gonna go help them out. No, they are doing their job.
Then we can do ours.
I find it hard to believe that we're 3 years into the Clone War, and this is the first time it's come up that Anakin has wanted to help a clone trooper, and Obi-Wan has basically told him that the clones are expendable, so let's alter that a bit.
They're all over me!
Get the front line!
We don't want Obi-Wan to seem heartless, and we also don't want Anakin to appear as if he's still in training, requiring Obi-Wan's instructions to get through a situation. So this change benefits both characters. Also, we don't need dialogue to show that Anakin is concerned about a clone trooper's life or well-being. A simple facial expression along with body language can get that across. In a movie, it's sometimes better for the actor to do the work of showing how the character feels. Dialogue isn't always needed for this. In fact, with a character like R2-D2 around, dialogue isn't always needed.
Surge all power units R2, stand by, reverse thrusters. We got him, R2.
Do you hear how the energy is deflated somewhat as we stop for the celebratory dialogue exchange between Anakin and R2? It sounds as if the danger is over, so we want to remove at least Anakin's dialogue to avoid that feeling of total relief.
Surge all power units R2, stand by, reverse thrusters. Surge all power units R2, stand by, reverse thrusters. Surge all power units R2, stand by, reverse thrusters.
Alright, we'll next see Obi-Wan's ship get hit with Buzz Droids, and this is where things bog down. A lot.
I'm hit! Anakin?
I see them.
Buzz Droids.
R4, be careful, you have one. Oh dear. They're shutting down all the controls.
So this sequence can be cut down a little. We can remove the attempt at humor, and we can also reorder the clips to make a montage that sums up the damage being done to Obi-Wan's ship.
Move to the right so I can get a clear shot at them.
The mission!
Get to the command ship, get the Chancellor.
I'm running out of tricks here.
In the name of... Hold your fire, you're not helping here.
I agree, bad idea.
Okay, so we've gotten through only the first stage of Anakin trying to help Obi-Wan shake off these Buzz Droids. Let's see how much longer this goes on.
I can't see a thing.
My cockpit's fogging.
They're all over me.
Anakin!
Move to the right.
Hold on, Anakin. You're gonna get us both killed.
Keep in mind that there's supposed to be this great battle going on, but this scene is just losing itself in this smaller conflict between Obi-Wan and Buzz Droids, and unfortunately it's gonna focus down even further.
Get out of here. There's nothing more you can do.
I'm not leaving without you, Master. Get him, R2.
And now we're going from Obi-Wan versus multiple Buzz Droids to R2 versus a single Buzz Droid, with Anakin acting as a cheerleader. It's really strange how this opening battle has completely lost itself now.
I
Watch out.
R2, hit the Buzz Droid center eye.
Yeah, you got him.
Great, R2.
In this opening scene, we'll see more instances of R2 being pushed as a hero, which is something that really isn't necessary. The droids aren't the heroes of the story, so why is there this sudden push to make R2 appear to be a hero? It's a fun concept, but since it messes with the pacing of the action, it's a fun concept that needs to be cut. Let's see what this scene looks like without it.
Anakin?
Buzz Droids.
They're shutting down all the controls.
As you can see, the quicker this goes by, the more threatening it feels. Since it's happening so fast, our heroes must act swiftly. Remember, we want to keep to a faster pace so we can keep the energy up.
Move to the right so I can get a clear shot at them.
In the name of...
The General's command ship is dead ahead.
And that's it. Anakin shoots some of the Buzz Droids off Obi-Wan's ship, damaging the ship in the process, and the remainder of the Buzz Droids are knocked off due to Obi-Wan passing so close to a large explosion from a much larger ship. That's really all we need to see of the Buzz Droids. It's a threat that's dealt with quickly, not only because we don't want to lose the scope of the greater battle, but also because Obi-Wan and Anakin are fast approaching General Grievous's ship. They're up against the clock here, so they have to maintain their focus. They can't become an audience to R2 versus a Buzz Droid. Plus, an extra benefit to minimizing the Buzz Droid stuff is that we maintain a certain demeanor for Obi-Wan. With all the Buzz Droid drama in the film, Obi-Wan goes from a high level of annoyance
In the name of... Hold your fire, you're not helping here.
to calming down a bit after the last Buzz Droid crosses from his ship to Anakin's,
R2, hit the Buzz Droid center eye.
to celebrating R2's victory,
Great, R2.
and back to a high level of annoyance again.
Well, have you noticed the shields are still up?
But if we remove most of the Buzz Droid drama, we see that it pushes Obi-Wan to a high level of annoyance, and he stays there for that second bit, until they board General Grievous's ship.
In the name of...
The General's command ship is dead ahead.
Well, have you noticed the shields are still up? Sorry, Matt.
So now we have Obi-Wan maintaining that high level. He's not going up and down and back up anymore. Obi-Wan's demeanor is consistent now, and the pacing of the action so far is also much better. Of course, there's still more to do once our heroes land on General Grievous's ship. Do you see how we lose the action while we witness Anakin unbuckling himself, R2 popping out of the ship, and the battle droids saying, as if they were searching for Obi-Wan and Anakin and finally found them? Let's remove all that extra stuff, shall we? Alright, that's much smoother now. Obi-Wan drops us into the lightsaber action. Then we spot Anakin joining the fray. We now have solid placement within the action along with our heroes. Unfortunately, the action is once again interrupted by some needless side stuff. For the next 2 minutes and 16 seconds, we see the first of 2 unnecessary dives into elevator drama. And while this is going on, R2 gets into a tussle with a couple of security droids. Again, there's this clear desire to elevate R2 into one of the heroes of the story, but that's never what R2 has been. Not to mention, we don't need R2 to be elevated. We already love R2 just as he is, in the role that he's in. So it's unnecessary to make R2 into a hero, and it only distracts us from what our heroes are doing. which is rescuing the Chancellor. I mean, yeah, R2 has gotten into scuffles before, but the story in The Empire Strikes Back needed R2 to get into it with Yoda to help show Luke's frustration. The only reason to have R2 light a couple of security droids on fire would be to satisfy the pyromaniacs in the audience.
Fire! 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 Fire!
You could say that R2 has a role in getting the elevator moving, but the elevator shenanigans aren't really needed. They don't add anything to the story. It's not equal to jumping into a garbage chute to escape the army of stormtroopers and needing R2 to stop the trash compactor. So some good questions to ask here are, is there a good reason for the elevator not to work? Is the elevator not working just so some filler can be added to pad out the movie's runtime? What if the elevator simply works? I mean, after Obi-Wan and Anakin talk about a trap,
I sense Count Dooku.
I sense a trap.
Next move?
Spring the trap.
we should now focus on the trap. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the trap? Well, you could say the destroyer droids are helping to push Obi-Wan and Anakin into the trap. But this...
Drop your weapon. I said drop them.
isn't the trap. And this isn't the trap either.
Hands up, Jedi.
The trap, in fact, is right here.
This time we will do it together.
I was about to say that.
So, none of that other stuff is necessary. You already saw Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting off some battle droids. We really don't need to see them turning more battle droids into junk piles that don't seem to litter the elevator floor. We also don't need to see Anakin jumping out of the elevator, doing nothing except hanging on for dear life, then jumping back into the elevator after R2 gets the elevator moving in the right direction. And we seriously don't need to hear some needless chatter from a couple of security droids.
Get back to work. That nothing.
So, it all comes off as a huge waste of time, especially when all we really need to see is this.
Destroyers!
Now we're more focused on why Obi-Wan and Anakin are on General Grievous's ship in the first place. Remember, they're rescuing the Chancellor. So, what if our heroes can simply get to the Chancellor and spring the trap? Also, look out the windows and check out that larger battle going on outside. We're now not losing sight of that battle for too long so that we can see a bunch of elevator shenanigans. And by the way, we don't have to cut that amazingly close exchange of fire between the two behemoth ships. Instead, we can simply move some of that footage to break up the fight scene involving Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Count Dooku. Here's the original clip first.
I've been looking forward to this.
My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count.
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
My powers have doubled. Is Anakin keeping track on a scorecard or something? All right, now let's see the change.
I've been looking forward to this.
By the way, you may have already noticed that we're adding some music to this so that the two separate scenes can marry a bit more smoothly. Let's see the rest. Now, after we remove this bad special effect, we can move on to dropping the second of the two elevator shenanigans scenes. And I know what you're asking. How do we drop events that occur in this scene? From the entire ship and elevator shaft tilting to a huge degree, to Obi-Wan waking up, to Obi-Wan, Anakin, the Chancellor, and R2 all being caught.
Yes, the negotiator.
Well, it's like this.
Anakin, there's no time. We must get off this ship before it's too late.
Hands up, Jedi.
Yes. The negotiator.
Now we must leave before more security droids arrive. Anakin, there's no time. We must get off this ship before it's too late.
Hands up, Jedi.
Now, if there was any real change that came from the elevator not working either time, then that would have been a good reason for the elevator not to work. For example, let's say Anakin jumps out of the elevator, R2 gets it moving, and Obi-Wan gets to their intended destination, only to discover that the Chancellor is not there. Anakin, who is now on a different floor, spots the Chancellor being moved to another location and radios Obi-Wan, who tells Anakin that Count Dooku has just entered the room and a fight is about to start. Now, Anakin must choose between immediately rescuing the Chancellor or heading up to Obi-Wan's location to help him fight Dooku. If this happened, then the elevator not working would add a meaningful change to the events that occur, and would also tell us more about Anakin's character since he would now have to make a difficult decision. However, all we get is Anakin jumps out of the elevator, hangs onto the side of the shaft, then jumps back into the elevator, and that's it. Nothing meaningful really happening. The second time the elevator doesn't work is because Grievous's ship takes some external damage, tips over, then is righted again. And again, nothing really changes. If this is where the ship began to break down, and Anakin now had to race to get the Chancellor, Obi-Wan, and R2 to an escape pod before the ship crashed, that would be a solid change to the plan Obi-Wan and Anakin had as they entered this rescue. However, because the ship is righted and everything goes back to normal just so we can get Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting off their captors, there's really no reason why the elevator can't simply work and get everyone to where they're going. And that's all for now. I really want to do more on the Star Wars prequels, such as showing how to cut the Anakin and Padme romance in Episode 2 so that it's more consistent and a lot less creepy. But maybe, for now, I'll switch over to a trilogy of a different sort. I'm a huge fan of Superman, and I've been wanting to talk about Zack Snyder's Superman trilogy: Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League. We'll see what happens. I'll probably do Episode 2 first. I really want to show how to cut that romance.